Somewhere on this planet, right now, there is a creature so strange that if you saw it in a dream, you would think your mind had invented it. A fish with a transparent head, a frog that carries its babies inside its skin, a worm that glows like a living constellation beneath the sea. These beings are not fantasy. They are real, they are breathing, and they share this world with you. Tonight, we explore the strangest creatures that walk, swim, crawl, and drift across this earth. Each one is a gentle reminder that nature's imagination has no limits, that every corner of life holds something quietly astonishing. Welcome to Drowsy Discovery. Over the next 2 hours, over 100 gentle facts will carry you through forests, oceans, caves, and deserts where the most unusual creatures call home. There is nothing to memorize, nothing to remember. Just listen and let your mind drift. Have you ever wondered what lives in the places we never look, in the depths we never reach, in the darkness we rarely think about? You are not alone. If this gentle journey brings you peace, consider subscribing to join our growing community of curious, sleepy souls. There are more wonders waiting. Now let your shoulders soften, let your breath slow. Let the rhythm of these words become a quiet current that carries you gently downward toward rest. If your eyes feel heavy, let them close. The creatures of the night are patient. They will be here when you wake. Let us begin. The axolotl can regrow its own brain. Deep in the murky waters of ancient Mexican lakes, a creature exists that defies nearly everything we know about biological limits. A pale pink amphibian with feathery gills and a permanent smile that seems to know secrets biologists are only beginning to understand. The axolotl, sometimes called the Mexican walking fish, though it is not a fish at all, possesses regenerative abilities so extraordinary that it can regrow not only limbs, but also parts of its heart, its spine, and even sections of its brain without any scarring or loss of function. Scientists have watched in quiet astonishment as these creatures rebuild complex neural structures, restoring memories and behaviors that should have been lost forever. And researchers hope that studying this remarkable animal may one day help humans recover from injuries we currently consider permanent. It never fully grows up, remaining in its larval form throughout its entire life, a state called neoteny that keeps it forever young. Perhaps there is wisdom in refusing to rush toward adulthood. The blobfish looks completely different under normal pressure. The blobfish became famous as the world's ugliest animal, a sad, drooping face that seemed designed to inspire pity. But this reputation is deeply unfair and based entirely on a misunderstanding of physics. In its natural habitat, more than a kilometer beneath the ocean's surface, where pressure is over 100 times greater than at sea level, the blobfish looks like a perfectly ordinary fish, streamlined and unremarkable, going about its business of drifting above the seafloor and waiting for small crustaceans to wander past. It is only when brought rapidly to the surface, where the pressure drops catastrophically, that its gelatinous body expands and deforms into the melancholy blob we see in photographs. A creature quite literally falling apart under conditions it was never meant to experience. We judge it by its worst moment, not its true form. The blobfish is a quiet reminder that context shapes everything we think we see. The tardigrade can survive in the vacuum of space. Smaller than the point of a pencil, the tardigrade may be the toughest creature on Earth, capable of surviving conditions that would instantly destroy nearly every other form of life we know. Scientists have exposed these microscopic water bears to the vacuum of outer space, to radiation levels hundreds of times higher than what would kill a human, to temperatures close to absolute zero and well above boiling point, and still they endure, entering a state of suspended animation called cryptobiosis, where their metabolism drops to nearly nothing and time itself seems to slow. They have been found on mountaintops, in boiling hot springs, beneath Antarctic ice sheets, and in the sediment of the deepest ocean trenches, quietly waiting for conditions to improve. When water returns, they simply wake up and carry on as if nothing happened at all. Life, it seems, is far more stubborn than we ever dared to imagine. The mimic octopus can impersonate over 15 different species. In the shallow, muddy waters of the Indo-Pacific, a creature lives that has taken camouflage to an entirely different level, not merely hiding against backgrounds, but actively pretending to be other animals entirely. The mimic octopus can twist its flexible body into the shapes of lionfish, flatfish, sea snakes, and jellyfish, matching not only their appearance, but also their movements with eerie and unsettling precision. When threatened by a damselfish, it becomes a sea snake, the damselfish's natural predator, and the would-be attacker flees in terror from a creature that was never really there at all. Scientists believe this octopus may be able to impersonate more than 15 different species, choosing its disguise based on the specific threat it faces, a feat of intelligence and improvisation that seems almost impossible for an invertebrate. It is an actor performing in a theater where the price of a poor performance is death. The pistol shrimp creates a bubble hotter than the surface of the sun. At only a few centimeters long, the pistol shrimp possesses one of the most devastating weapons in the entire animal kingdom, an oversized claw that can snap shut with such extraordinary speed that it creates a cavitation bubble reaching temperatures of nearly 4,800 degrees Celsius for a fraction of a second. This momentary bubble, hotter than the surface of the sun, collapses with a shockwave powerful enough to stun or kill small prey, and the sound it produces is so loud that colonies of snapping shrimp are among the noisiest environments in the ocean, interfering with sonar equipment from submarines and research vessels. The shrimp does not even need to touch its target, for the physics of the snap does all the work, a tiny creature wielding forces that belong to the realm of supernovas and exploding stars. It is a reminder that violence in nature often comes in the smallest and most unexpected of packages. The immortal jellyfish can reverse its own aging. Drifting through the warm waters of the Mediterranean and the seas of Japan, a tiny jellyfish no larger than a fingernail carries within its translucent body a secret that has captivated scientists for decades. When the immortal jellyfish faces injury, disease, or simply the stress of old age, it can revert its cells to their earliest state, transforming back into a polyp and beginning its life cycle again from the very start, theoretically repeating this process without limit. It is not truly immortal in the sense that it cannot be eaten or destroyed, but it has found a way to reset its biological clock, to escape the one fate that comes for every other creature on Earth eventually. Of course, in the wild, most are consumed by predators long before they test this ability, but the possibility remains, quietly pulsing in the dark. Somewhere tonight, a jellyfish is growing younger instead of older. The naked mole rat feels almost no pain. Beneath the dry savannas of East Africa, in tunnels carved through hard-packed earth, lives a creature that breaks nearly every rule of mammalian biology. The naked mole rat, with its wrinkled pink skin and enormous protruding teeth, is almost entirely insensitive to pain caused by acids or the burning sensation of capsaicin, the chemical that makes chili peppers feel hot, and it can survive for up to 18 minutes without oxygen by entering a state of suspended animation. It is also the only cold-blooded mammal known to science, and it appears to be almost immune to cancer, a disease that afflicts nearly every other mammal at some point in their lives. Their colonies are organized like insect hives, with a single breeding queen and workers who will never reproduce, a social structure unique among mammals. This strange and wonderful creature may one day teach us how to better endure suffering ourselves. And from these creatures of impossible adaptation, we now descend into the deep, where sunlight never reaches and life takes its strangest forms. The anglerfish carries its mate fused to its body forever. In the crushing darkness of the deep ocean, where finding a partner is nearly impossible and every encounter might be the last, the anglerfish has evolved a solution that seems horrifying to us but makes perfect biological sense. When a tiny male finds a female, often many times his size, he bites into her flesh and never lets go, his body eventually fusing with hers until he becomes nothing more than a permanent attachment, a living source of sperm whenever she needs to reproduce. His eyes dissolve, his internal organs wither away, and he becomes utterly dependent on her bloodstream for survival, losing everything that once made him a separate creature. In exchange, she gains a reliable mate without ever having to search the darkness again. It is a partnership so complete that the two become one. Love, in the deep, takes strange and permanent forms. The barreleye fish has a completely transparent head. Swimming slowly through the twilight zone of the Pacific Ocean, where the last traces of sunlight fade into permanent darkness, the barreleye fish searches for prey with eyes unlike any other in the animal kingdom. Its head is completely transparent, a dome of clear fluid through which you can see directly into its skull, and its tubular green eyes point straight upward, scanning the waters above for the silhouettes of jellyfish and small crustaceans drifting down from brighter regions. For many years, scientists thought the fish could only look up, but recent research has shown it can rotate its eyes forward to see what it is eating, all while its transparent head provides a protective shield against the stinging tentacles of the jellyfish it steals food from. It is a creature designed for a world of permanent twilight. Looking through its head is like gazing through a window into another realm entirely. The giant isopod can survive years without eating. Resting on the cold, muddy floors of the Atlantic and Pacific, the giant isopod looks like something from a nightmare, a pale, armored creature resembling a woodlouse grown to the size of a football, with large, reflective eyes that glow in the dim light of submersible cameras. These ancient scavengers, relatives of the pill bugs you might find in your garden, have been known to survive for over 5 years without a single meal in captivity, patiently waiting in the dark for the rare carcass of a whale or large fish to drift down from the sunlit waters far above. When food does arrive, they gorge themselves to the point where they can barely move, storing enough energy to endure yet another long fast. They have existed in essentially the same form for over 160 million years. In the deep, patience is the greatest virtue of all. The vampire squid turns itself inside out to escape predators. Despite its terrifying name, the vampire squid is not a predator at all, but a gentle scavenger of the deep, drifting through the oxygen minimum zone where almost nothing else can survive, collecting fallen organic matter in sticky filaments that trail behind it like ghostly threads. When threatened, this creature does not flee or fight, but instead performs one of the strangest defensive maneuvers in nature, pulling its webbed arms over its body like a cloak turned inside out, revealing a dark surface covered in fleshy spines that startles and confuses any would-be attacker. Its enormous blue eyes, the largest relative to body size of any animal on Earth, glow with bioluminescent patches that can flash and pulse to further disorient predators. It is a living remnant of ancient oceans, its lineage stretching back hundreds of millions of years to a time before dinosaurs walked the Earth. The vampire squid survives by becoming briefly unrecognizable. The gulper eel can swallow prey larger than itself. In the perpetual darkness of the deep ocean, where meals are rare and every opportunity must be seized, The gulper eel has evolved a body designed for a single extraordinary purpose. Its mouth can open wide enough to engulf creatures far larger than itself, and its stomach can stretch to accommodate prey that seems impossibly too big to fit, allowing it to survive in an environment where going hungry for months is the norm rather than the exception. The rest of its body is almost comically small compared to its enormous jaws, a long whip-like tail trailing behind a head that seems designed by a fevered imagination rather than the slow, patient work of evolution. It locates prey using a glowing tip at the end of its tail, a bioluminescent lure that draws curious creatures toward what will become their final destination. In the deep, hunger has shaped bodies into forms that seem barely possible. The Dumbo octopus lives deeper than any other octopus. Named after the Disney elephant because of the ear-like fins that sprout from its head and allow it to glide gracefully through the water, the Dumbo octopus makes its home in the Hadal Zone, the deepest realm of the ocean, where crushing pressure and eternal darkness rule. Unlike its shallow water relatives, it does not squirt ink to escape predators, for there is no light in which an ink cloud would be visible, and it moves not by jetting water, but by gently flapping those distinctive fins like wings in slow motion through the dense, cold water. They hover just above the seafloor, pouncing on worms, crustaceans, and other small creatures that they swallow whole, and they have been filmed at depths exceeding 7,000 meters, far beyond where any other octopus has ever been found. In the very deepest places on Earth, there is still life. It is small, it is strange, and it is quietly enduring. The fangtooth fish has the largest teeth relative to body size of any fish. At around 15 centimeters long, the fangtooth fish is not particularly large, but its teeth are so enormous that it cannot fully close its mouth, and special grooves in its skull allow the fangs to slot into place beside its brain when the jaws snap shut. These terrifying teeth evolved in response to the extreme scarcity of food in the deep ocean, ensuring that any prey unlucky enough to be caught has absolutely no chance of escape, no matter how desperately it struggles. Despite their fearsome appearance, fangtooth fish are relatively slow swimmers, drifting through the darkness and relying on chance encounters rather than active hunting, their huge eyes detecting the faintest flickers of bioluminescent light. They live at depths of up to 5,000 meters, where the pressure would crush any human instantly and the temperature hovers just above freezing. Even the most terrifying creatures of the deep live lives of quiet patience. The Yeti crab farms bacteria on its own claws. Discovered only in 2005 near hydrothermal vents on the Pacific seafloor, the Yeti crab looks like a creature from mythology, its long claws covered in dense, silky fibers that give it a ghostly, almost furry appearance unlike any other crustacean. These fibers are not decoration, but functional tools, harboring colonies of bacteria that the crab deliberately cultivates by waving its claws through the mineral-rich waters pouring from volcanic vents, bacteria that it then scrapes off and eats as its primary source of nutrition. It is a farmer of the deep, tending invisible crops in one of the most hostile environments on Earth, where temperatures can swing from near freezing to scalding hot within centimeters and toxic chemicals pour constantly from the seafloor. The Yeti crab has found a way to thrive in a place where almost nothing else can survive at all. It is proof that life will always find its quiet way. And as you rest with these thoughts of the deep ocean, there is no need to hold onto any of them. Let them drift through you like the slow currents that carry these creatures through the darkness. Take a breath if you wish, and let your body settle a little deeper. The goblin shark can extend its jaw forward like a trap. Swimming through the deep waters of the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans at depths where light never penetrates. The goblin shark is often called a living fossil, its lineage stretching back over 125 million years with remarkably little change. Its most distinctive feature is its long, flat snout, filled with sensory organs that can detect the faint electrical fields produced by prey in complete darkness. But its most unsettling ability is the way it feeds, shooting its jaws forward from its head like a spring-loaded trap and snatching fish and squid before they can react. This mechanism is among the fastest jaw protrusions of any shark, and watching footage of it in action is deeply unsettling, the head seeming to dislocate and reach forward almost as if possessed by something else entirely. The goblin shark hunts rarely but effectively. When it strikes, its prey never sees it coming. The frilled shark has barely changed in 80 million years. Gliding through the murky depths of the Atlantic and Pacific with an undulating motion more like an eel than a typical shark, the frilled shark looks like something that should have gone extinct long before humans existed, and yet it persists, unchanged, in the cold, dark corners of the ocean. Its 300 trident-shaped teeth, arranged in 25 rows, are perfectly suited for snagging the soft bodies of squid and deep-sea fish, and its long serpentine body allows it to strike with a speed that seems impossible for something so ancient and strange. It was first described by science only in the late 19th century, and even now it is rarely seen, dwelling at depths of up to 1,500 meters where few submersibles venture. To look at the frilled shark is to look across 80 million years of time. The deep ocean is a museum of creatures we thought belonged only to the past. The sea angel hunts with wing-like fins in freezing waters. In the frigid polar oceans, beneath layers of drifting ice, a creature no larger than a thumb glides through the water with translucent wings that beat slowly and gracefully, giving it the name sea angel even though its behavior is anything but angelic. This tiny shellless mollusk is a dedicated predator of the sea butterfly, a related species it pursues relentlessly through the open water, grabbing its prey with specialized tentacles and extracting the soft body from its shell with horrifying efficiency. The sea angel's transparent body reveals its internal organs in vivid color, orange and purple structures pulsing beneath skin as clear as glass, and large populations of them sometimes gather in swarms visible from the surface as shimmering clouds of living light. It is beautiful, it is alien, and it is a reminder that even the coldest waters on Earth are filled with creatures beyond ordinary imagination. Beauty and predation are often the same thing. And from the cold depths of the ocean, we now surface to the land, where equally strange creatures walk beneath the trees. The pangolin is the only mammal completely covered in scales. Walking slowly through the forests and savannas of Africa and Asia on its hind legs, with its front claws held carefully off the ground, the pangolin is the only mammal in the world whose body is covered entirely in hard keratin scales, the same material that makes up human fingernails, but arranged like overlapping armor plates. When threatened, it curls into a tight ball so secure that even predators as powerful as lions cannot pry it open. And it has no teeth at all, instead using an extraordinarily long, sticky tongue that can extend further than its entire body to sweep ants and termites from their nests. Tragically, the pangolin is also the most trafficked mammal on Earth, hunted relentlessly for its scales and meat despite being protected by international law, and several species now teeter on the edge of extinction. This armored creature that survived millions of years is struggling to survive its encounter with us. Some defenses work against everything except human greed. The eye taps on trees to find insects hidden inside. On the island of Madagascar, where evolution has taken paths found nowhere else on Earth. The eye emerges at night with enormous orange eyes, bat-like ears, and a skeletal middle finger unlike any other primate appendage. It taps rapidly on tree bark, listening with ears so sensitive that it can hear the echoes changing when the tapping passes over a hollow tunnel carved by an insect larva. And then it gnaws through the wood with rodent-like teeth and extracts the grub with that impossibly thin finger in a technique called percussive foraging that no other primate has mastered. Early encounters with the eye led local people to consider it an omen of death, and many were killed on sight, a superstition that combined with habitat loss to push the species toward extinction. It is strange, it is wonderful, and it is one of the rarest primates in the world. The night forests of Madagascar would be poorer without its quiet tapping. The star-nosed mole can identify food in less than a quarter of a second. Beneath the wet meadows and marshes of eastern North America, a small creature tunnels through the soil with a face so strange that early naturalists refused to believe it was real. A fleshy pink star of 22 tentacles radiating from its nose in constant frantic motion. These tentacles are the most sensitive touch organs known in any mammal, containing over 100,000 nerve fibers in an area smaller than a fingertip, and they allow the star-nosed mole to identify whether something is edible in just 25 milliseconds, faster than any other mammal can process sensory information. It can eat a worm before a human could even register that a worm existed, a feat of speed that requires a brain wired for instant reaction in total darkness. The mole essentially touches the world the way we see it, building a detailed map from thousands of rapid contacts every second. Speed and sensitivity have created something truly strange and magnificent. The proboscis monkey uses its enormous nose to attract mates. In the mangrove forest of Borneo, a monkey sits with a nose so large that it hangs down below its mouth, wobbling comically when the animal eats and amplifying its calls into resonant honks that echo through the trees. The proboscis monkey's nose continues growing throughout its life, and females consistently prefer males with the largest noses, suggesting that this seemingly absurd feature is a reliable signal of genetic fitness and overall health. Males with bigger noses tend to have larger body sizes and higher social status, and their amplified calls carry further through the dense vegetation, advertising their presence to potential mates across great distances. It is a reminder that beauty is entirely subjective, shaped by the specific pressures of each environment, and what looks ridiculous to human eyes may be devastatingly attractive to a proboscis monkey. Evolution does not care what we think is elegant. It cares only about what works. The okapi has a tongue long enough to clean its own ears. Hidden in the dense rainforests of the Democratic Republic of Congo, the okapi was unknown to Western science until 1901, despite being the size of a horse with distinctive zebra-striped legs that seemed designed to attract attention. Its tongue, measuring between 30 and 36 centimeters, is not only long enough to reach its own ears, but is prehensile, capable of grasping leaves and stripping branches with remarkable dexterity, and it is colored dark blue, perhaps to protect it from sunburn as the animal feeds. Though it resembles a cross between a zebra and a deer, the okapi is actually the giraffe's only living relative, sharing the same elongated tongue and similarly ossicone-covered skull, though its neck never stretched to match its taller cousin. It remains elusive and rarely seen, a ghost of the rainforest that scientists are still learning to understand. Some of the strangest creatures hide in plain sight for centuries. The glass frog has skin so transparent you can see its beating heart. Clinging to leaves above the rushing streams of Central and South American rainforests, The glass frog watches the night with large forward-facing eyes, while its lime-green back blends perfectly with the foliage around it. Turn it over, however, and you enter another world entirely, for its belly is almost completely transparent, revealing the red pulse of its heart, the white coils of its intestines, and even the individual eggs developing inside a pregnant female. Scientists believe this transparency may help the frog disappear against sun-dappled leaves by diffusing its outline, making it harder for predators to detect even when in plain sight. Males guard their eggs with extraordinary dedication, calling to attract females, defending territories, and sometimes even sitting on the clutch to keep it moist until the tadpoles drop into the water below. The glass frog carries its vulnerability on the outside for all to see. Somehow, that transparency keeps it safe. The Watsine chick has claws on its wings. In the flooded forests of the Amazon basin, a bird that smells like manure and looks like something from the age of dinosaurs raises its young in nests built over water, and those young possess a feature found in no other living bird on Earth. Watsine chicks have functional claws on their wings, two small hooks that allow them to climb through tangled branches like tiny feathered monkeys, a feature reminiscent of Archaeopteryx and other ancient transitional species between dinosaurs and modern birds. If a predator approaches the nest, the chick simply drops into the water below, swims to safety, and then climbs back up using those remarkable claws once the danger has passed. Adults lose these claws as they mature, their wings becoming ordinary flying appendages, but for a few weeks, the chick is a living window into the deep past. Evolution has kept a secret from the dinosaur age alive in the Amazon. And from the forests of unusual mammals and birds, we turn to the creatures that thrive in darkness, where other senses rule. The Ohm can survive 10 years without food. In the limestone caves beneath the Dinaric Alps of Slovenia and Croatia, a creature lives that has not seen sunlight for millions of years. Its pink skin and sightless eyes perfectly adapted to a world of perpetual darkness and near-total stillness. The Ohm, also called the human fish for its flesh-colored appearance, can live for over a century and has been documented surviving more than 10 years without eating, slowing its metabolism to almost nothing and waiting in the dark for the rare crustacean or snail to drift past. It breathes through external gills that wave gently in the cold underground waters, and it navigates entirely by sensing electrical fields and chemical traces, having long since abandoned the eyes that would be useless in its lightless world. To encounter an Ohm is to meet a creature from another Earth entirely. The cave still holds secrets we have barely begun to understand. The kiwi bird has nostrils at the tip of its beak. Shuffling through the dark forests of New Zealand on sturdy legs, probing the leaf litter with a long curved beak, the kiwi is a bird that seems determined to break every rule of what a bird should be. It cannot fly, its feathers feel more like coarse hair than plumage, and most remarkably, its nostrils are located not at the base of its beak like other birds, but at the very tip, allowing it to sniff out worms and insects buried deep beneath the soil. This placement gives the kiwi an extraordinary sense of smell, rare and almost unheard of among birds, and compensates for eyes that are small and not particularly useful in the dim light beneath the forest canopy. It lays eggs that are enormous relative to its body size, sometimes a quarter of the mother's weight, and the male incubates them for nearly 3 months in patient darkness. The kiwi proves that birds can be almost anything at all. The giant cave centipede hunts bats in complete darkness. Hanging from the ceilings of caves in Venezuela, a centipede over 30 centimeters long waits in perfect stillness, its many legs gripping the rocky surface, its antennae sensing the slightest disturbance in the stale underground air. When a bat flies too close, the centipede strikes with devastating speed, snagging the flying mammal from the air and delivering a venomous bite that quickly subdues prey many times its own weight. The bat is then slowly consumed as it hangs from the centipede's grip, a scene that plays out in total darkness where no human eye has ever witnessed it directly, known only from cameras left running for days in the silent underground chambers. These centipedes have likely been hunting in this manner for millions of years, predators that evolution has never needed to improve. In the lightless caves, the predators are patient and the hunters need no eyes. The cave crayfish has lost all pigment and all sight. In limestone caves across the southern United States, small ghostly crayfish wander through underground streams that have not seen light for millions of years, their shells drained of all color to a pale translucent white, their eyes reduced to tiny non-functional remnants beneath the skin. These creatures represent what happens when vision becomes irrelevant, when generations upon generations live and die without ever encountering a single photon, and the energy once devoted to maintaining eyes and pigment is redirected to other senses entirely. They feel their way through the darkness using extraordinarily sensitive antennae, detecting vibrations and chemical traces that tell them everything they need to know about their cold and silent world. Some species are found in only a single cave system, endemic to underground pools no larger than a swimming pool, making them among the rarest animals on Earth. They are living monuments to the power of darkness to reshape life completely. The Texas blind salamander navigates entirely by vibration. In the vast underground aquifer beneath San Marcos, Texas, a pale, ghostly salamander swims through flooded limestone passages that have never known sunlight, its vestigial eyes hidden beneath skin, its body so devoid of pigment that you can see the pink of blood flowing through its delicate gills. The Texas blind salamander finds its prey, tiny shrimp and snails, by detecting the faint vibrations they create as they move through the water, a sense so refined that it can locate food in complete darkness with pinpoint accuracy. It was discovered only when specimens were pumped up through artesian wells, emerging from a world humans had never entered, and bringing with them evidence of entire ecosystems hidden beneath the surface of the ordinary world. Fewer than 100 individuals may exist in the wild, making it critically endangered and utterly dependent on the health of the aquifer above. Darkness has created something fragile and irreplaceable. The remipede is a venomous crustacean that lives in underwater caves. Swimming through the flooded cave systems of the Caribbean, Mexico, and the Canary Islands, the remipede looks like a creature that time forgot. A pale, centipede-like crustacean with dozens of paddle-shaped legs that propel it gracefully through the pitch-black water. For many years after its discovery in 1981, scientists assumed it was a harmless filter feeder, but recent research has revealed that it is actually a venomous predator, the only known crustacean to inject venom through specialized fangs rather than simply crushing or tearing its prey. This venom contains compounds similar to those found in spider and snake venoms, paralyzing small cave shrimp and isopods that the remipede then consumes at its leisure in the silent darkness. It represents an ancient lineage, potentially one of the earliest branching points in crustacean evolution, a living fossil with adaptations we never expected. The caves continue to surprise us with their secrets. The cave angelfish clings to waterfalls in pitch blackness. In a handful of cave systems in Thailand, a tiny fish no larger than your thumb has evolved to climb vertical rock faces in complete darkness, clinging to the stone with modified pelvic fins that act like powerful suckers while waterfalls thunder down around it. The cave angelfish, or Cryptotora, walks rather than swims, using a pelvis and spine structured more like a terrestrial salamander than any other fish, a body plan that seems impossible for something with gills and scales. Scientists believe it may represent an early stage of the transition from water to land, the kind of creature that might have crawled onto ancient shorelines hundreds of millions of years ago and given rise eventually to all land vertebrates, including us. It lives only in a few caves in a single province, making it extraordinarily rare and vulnerable to any disturbance. A fish that walks up waterfalls in eternal darkness sounds like myth, but it is utterly real. And from the silent caves, we emerge into the light to meet creatures whose camouflage and defense mechanisms defy imagination. The leaf-tailed gecko can vanish against tree bark. In the forests of Madagascar, a gecko presses its body flat against a branch and becomes effectively invisible, its skin matching the color, texture, and even the pattern of lichen and bark so perfectly that predators walk past without ever noticing the animal watching them from centimeters away. The leaf-tailed gecko's camouflage is among the most sophisticated in the animal kingdom, incorporating not just color, but also frilled edges along its body that eliminate shadows and make it seem like part of the tree itself, rather than something resting upon it. Its eyes, enormous and without eyelids, can detect prey in the dimmest light, and when it does strike, it does so with a speed that suggests the tree has suddenly come alive. By day it sleeps in plain sight, trusting its disguise completely, and by night it hunts the insects that never knew it was there. To disappear completely is perhaps the most elegant survival strategy of all. The orchid mantis looks more like a flower than a flower does. Perched among the blooms of Southeast Asian rainforests, the orchid mantis waits with legs shaped like petals and a body colored in shades of pink and white, so convincing that pollinating insects approach it expecting nectar and receive only death. Studies have shown that this mantis does not merely resemble orchids, but actually attracts more insects than real flowers do, its coloration and form triggering the feeding instincts of bees and butterflies more effectively than the genuine article they are imitating. It is not hiding among flowers, but has become a flower itself, or rather something better than a flower, a superstimulus that lures prey with an irresistible promise it has no intention of keeping. Young mantises are darker, shifting toward the flower-like appearance as they mature, a transformation that takes several molts to complete. Evolution has created a predator that hunts by being beautiful. The orchid mantis is proof that deception can be an art form. The decorator crab covers itself in sponges and seaweed. Crawling along the seafloor on legs covered in hooks designed specifically for attachment, the decorator crab has perfected an art form that might be called underwater costume design, sticking pieces of sponge, algae, anemones, and whatever else it can find to its shell, until it becomes almost unrecognizable as a crab at all. This camouflage is not passive but actively maintained, the crab carefully selecting materials that match its current surroundings and rearranging them when it moves to a new area, a process that can take hours of patient work. Some decorator crabs choose toxic sponges or stinging anemones, gaining not just concealment, but chemical protection from predators who might otherwise crack open their shells without a second thought. When the crab molts, it must start again from scratch, transferring its collection to the new shell or gathering fresh decorations entirely. Survival sometimes requires becoming someone else entirely. The thorn bug resembles a plant spike so perfectly that birds ignore it. Sitting motionless on a branch in the forests of Central and South America, the thorn bug looks exactly like a sharp spine growing from the bark. Its exoskeleton sculpted into a point so convincing that hungry birds perch nearby without ever realizing they are surrounded by potential meals. This disguise is not a recent innovation, but the result of tens of millions of years of refinement, each generation slightly more thorn-like than the last, until the creature became indistinguishable from the plant it imitates. Groups of thorn bugs often line up along a single branch, creating the illusion of a thorny stem that offers nothing of interest to predators scanning for movement and soft bodies. They feed by piercing plant stems and drinking the sap, a quiet life spent in plain sight, trusting that stillness and shape will keep them safe another day. To be overlooked is sometimes the greatest evolutionary achievement of all. The sea dragon looks exactly like floating seaweed. Drifting through the kelp forests of southern Australia, the leafy sea dragon is less a fish than a living piece of underwater vegetation, its body adorned with elaborate leaf-shaped appendages that sway with the currents exactly as seaweed does, making it nearly impossible to spot even when you are looking directly at it. Unlike its seahorse relatives, the sea dragon cannot grip with its tail, instead relying entirely on its camouflage and the gentle propulsion of tiny transparent fins to move through its environment without attracting the attention of predators. Males carry the eggs on the underside of their tails, protecting them until they hatch into miniature versions of the adults, already equipped with the leafy projections that will keep them hidden for their entire lives. They feed on tiny crustaceans and mysid shrimp, sucking them up through tubular snouts so delicately that the water around them barely stirs. Beauty and disguise have merged into something that barely seems real. The walking stick insect can regrow lost limbs. Stretching sometimes to over 30 centimeters in length, the walking stick is among the longest insects in the world, a creature so thin and twig-like that it can hang motionless in a bush for hours without any predator noticing that one of the sticks is actually watching them with tiny compound eyes. When threatened, many species simply drop a leg, which continues to twitch and move on its own, distracting the attacker while the rest of the insect escapes into the foliage. And over the following molts, a new leg gradually regenerates to replace what was lost. Some walking sticks reproduce parthenogenetically, females laying viable eggs without ever mating, creating entire populations of clones that have existed for generations without a single male. They have been carried by wind and waves across oceans, colonizing new islands and evolving into hundreds of species, each perfectly adapted to resemble the local vegetation. To be a stick is enough. Sometimes the simplest disguise is the most effective. The cuttlefish can change color and texture in an instant. Hovering above the sandy seafloor with rippling fins that make it seem to float rather than swim, the cuttlefish possesses skin that can change not only color but also texture, shifting from smooth to bumpy to spiky in fractions of a second through the contraction of tiny muscles that reshape its surface. Beneath this transforming skin lie millions of chromatophores, pigment-filled cells that expand and contract under neural control, so precise that the cuttlefish can display moving patterns, pulsing waves of color that hypnotize prey and communicate with other cuttlefish in a language we are only beginning to understand. Despite having eyes that see no color at all, only shades of gray, they can match any background with uncanny accuracy, suggesting they perceive their environment in ways that human senses cannot grasp. The cuttlefish brain contains more neurons than many mammals, and its intelligence has surprised researchers studying its ability to solve problems and remember solutions. It is an alien intelligence wrapped in colors we cannot imagine. The hairy frog breaks its own bones to create claws. In the forests of Cameroon lives a frog with a defense mechanism so extreme that it seems more like body horror than biology, deliberately breaking the bones in its own toes, and pushing the sharp fragments through its skin to create claws when threatened. These improvised weapons, found only in males, can slash at predators with surprising effectiveness. And while we still do not know exactly how the frog heals afterward, new skin appears to grow over the wounds relatively quickly. The same species is sometimes called the horror frog or Wolverine frog, references to its seemingly supernatural ability to produce weapons from within its own body on demand. Males also develop hair-like structures along their sides during breeding season, filaments rich in blood vessels that may help them absorb more oxygen while guarding eggs underwater. The hairy frog has solved problems in ways evolution rarely repeats. Desperation has led to extraordinary innovation. As these images of camouflage and survival settle into your mind, let yourself become still. There is no need to analyze or understand. Simply breathe and let the wonder of these creatures rest gently within you. The Texas horned lizard shoots blood from its eyes. Basking on the sun-baked rocks of the American Southwest, the Texas horned lizard looks like a tiny dinosaur, its body covered in sharp spines that deter many predators, but its most unsettling defense is reserved for the enemies that get too close. When threatened by a coyote or bobcat, this lizard can rupture blood vessels around its eyes and spray a stream of foul-tasting blood directly into the predator's face, a jet that can travel up to a meter and contains chemicals particularly repulsive to canine taste receptors. The blood itself is mixed with compounds that make it taste terrible, ensuring that any mammal experiencing this attack is unlikely to ever try eating a horned lizard again. It is a defense that costs the lizard a small but significant amount of its blood supply, a price worth paying for survival, regenerated within a few hours once the danger has passed. Some desperate measures are genuinely worth the cost. The hagfish releases a gallon of slime in seconds. When a shark or any other predator grabs a hagfish, expecting an easy meal from this primitive eel-like creature, it receives instead a mouthful of slime so thick and clogging that it often releases its grip and swims away gagging, gills blocked by a substance unlike anything else in the animal kingdom. The hagfish can produce nearly 4 liters of this slime in under a second, secreting concentrated protein fibers that expand explosively when they contact seawater, creating a gel that can suffocate any creature unlucky enough to be trapped within it. The hagfish itself escapes by tying its body into a knot and scraping the slime off as it slides through, a maneuver that seems impossible until you watch it happen. Scientists are studying this remarkable substance for potential medical and industrial applications, amazed by its unique properties and rapid deployment. Sometimes, the most effective defense is simply being too disgusting to eat. The bombardier beetle sprays boiling chemicals at attackers. When an ant or frog attempts to make a meal of the bombardier beetle, it receives a scalding surprise. A spray of near-boiling liquid ejected from the beetle's abdomen with an audible pop and enough force to cause genuine pain even to predators many times its size. The beetle achieves this feat by mixing 2 chemicals stored separately in its body, hydroquinone and hydrogen peroxide, in a reinforced reaction chamber where they combine explosively, reaching temperatures of 100 degrees Celsius and expelling the mixture through a flexible nozzle. The beetle can aim with remarkable precision. It can fire up to 20 times in rapid succession, adjusting its aim to follow a moving target, and the chemicals irritate and burn the soft tissues of any attacker foolish enough to persist. Evolution has created a tiny creature that carries a chemical weapon system inside its own body. The small often have the most surprising defenses. The porcupine fish inflates itself into a spiky ball. Swimming through tropical reefs with wide, curious eyes, the porcupine fish looks harmless enough until danger approaches, at which point it rapidly swallows water, expanding its body to several times its normal size and erecting hundreds of sharp spines that turn it into a bristling sphere too large and too dangerous for most predators to swallow. This inflation response is remarkably quick, the fish able to transform itself in just a few seconds, and the spines are actually modified scales, hardened over millions of years into effective defensive weapons. Once the danger passes, the fish slowly deflates, expelling the water and returning to its normal shape, though the process is exhausting and the fish remains vulnerable during the transition. The porcupine fish's closest relatives include the deadly pufferfish, and like them, many species carry tetrodotoxin in their organs, adding chemical defense to their already formidable physical one. When you cannot run, becoming too much trouble is the next best option. The slow loris has a toxic bite. With its enormous round eyes and soft fur, the slow loris looks like something from a children's cartoon. But this small nocturnal primate from Southeast Asia carries a secret that makes it unique among primates and dangerous to anyone who handles it carelessly. Glands on its elbows secrete a toxin that the loris licks and mixes with its saliva, creating a venomous bite that can cause severe allergic reactions in humans and has been known to kill small animals and even send humans into anaphylactic shock. In the wild, mothers coat their babies in this toxin before leaving them to forage, providing protection against predators while they are gone. Sadly, the slow loris's adorable appearance has made it a target for the illegal pet trade, with dealers often removing its teeth to prevent bites, leaving the animal defenseless and prone to infection. Beauty has become a curse for a creature whose only crime is being too endearing to ignore. And from creatures that defend themselves in the strangest ways, we now move to the mysteries of reproduction and life cycles that seem almost impossible. The seahorse male gives birth to its young. In warm, shallow waters around the world, small armored fish with horse-shaped heads bob gently among the seagrass, and among them, males swell visibly with pregnancy while females look on, a reversal of roles found nowhere else in the vertebrate world. Female seahorses deposit their eggs into a specialized pouch on the male's belly, and there they remain, fertilized and developing, while he provides oxygen and nutrients through a network of blood vessels until the day they are ready to emerge as tiny, fully formed seahorses. Birth is a dramatic affair, the male anchoring himself with his tail and contracting for hours as hundreds of miniature offspring spill into the water, immediately independent and drifting away to begin their own lives. Scientists believe this arrangement allows females to produce more eggs more quickly, since they are not limited by their own carrying capacity. In the seahorse world, fatherhood means something altogether different. The Suriname toad carries its eggs embedded in its back. Flattened like a dead leaf and lurking in the murky waters of South American rivers, the Suriname toad reproduces in a manner so strange that it seems designed to disturb anyone who witnesses it for the first time. During mating, the female releases eggs that the male fertilizes and then presses into the soft skin of her back, where they sink in and become covered by a honeycomb of pockets as her skin grows over them completely. There the embryos develop, feeding on the yolk of their eggs, until fully formed toadlets burst through their mother's skin weeks later, emerging from dozens of tiny holes in a scene that looks more like a horror film than a nature documentary. The mother's back heals quickly afterward, ready for the next breeding season. It is a solution to the problem of protecting vulnerable eggs, strange beyond measure but undeniably effective. Parenthood takes many forms. The anglerfish male fuses with the female and becomes part of her body. Deep in the ocean, where finding a mate may be a once-in-a-lifetime event, male anglerfish have evolved a reproductive strategy so extreme that it seems more like science fiction than biology, permanently fusing their bodies to the much larger females and degenerating into nothing more than sperm-producing organs attached to her side. When a tiny male encounters a female in the darkness, he bites into her flesh and releases enzymes that dissolve his mouth and her skin together, his circulatory system eventually merging with hers until they become one organism with two genetic contributions. He loses his eyes, his fins, most of his internal organs, all unnecessary now that he is permanently sustained by her blood. But in exchange, he guarantees that his genes will pass on whenever she releases her eggs. Some females have been found with multiple males attached, tiny parasitic lumps on what was once their independent mate. Love in the abyss requires total commitment. The clownfish can change its sex when needed. Living among the stinging tentacles of sea anemones that would kill any other fish, clownfish exist in strictly hierarchical groups where the largest female rules, a slightly smaller male breeds with her, and several juveniles wait for their chance to move up the social ladder. If the female dies, something remarkable happens. The breeding male transforms into a female, his body producing ovaries in place of testes, her behavior shifting to become dominant and aggressive, while the largest juvenile steps up to become the new breeding male. This ability to change sex, called sequential hermaphroditism, ensures that the group always has a breeding pair, no matter which individual is lost, a flexibility that has helped clownfish thrive in coral reef ecosystems around the world. The transformation takes several weeks and is irreversible, a one-way journey to a different kind of life. Identity in the clownfish world is never quite as fixed as it appears. The bdelloid rotifer has survived millions of years without mating. Floating in droplets of water on moss, in puddles, in gutters, and in any other temporary wet environment, the bdelloid rotifer has been reproducing exclusively through cloning for at least 40 million years, longer than any other known animal lineage without sexual reproduction. Every bdelloid rotifer ever observed has been female, producing offspring that are genetically identical copies of themselves. And despite the theoretical disadvantages of having no genetic diversity, they have diversified into over 450 species that colonize nearly every freshwater habitat on Earth. Scientists believe they have avoided the evolutionary dead end of asexuality by stealing genes from bacteria, fungi, and other organisms they encounter, incorporating foreign DNA into their own genome and gaining new genetic variation without ever needing a mate. They can also survive complete desiccation, drying out for years, and then rehydrating when water returns, shrugging off radiation and extreme temperatures along the way. Life, it seems, does not always need the patterns we expect. The kangaroo can pause its pregnancy. In the harsh and unpredictable Australian outback, where droughts can strike without warning and food sources can vanish overnight, the kangaroo has evolved a reproductive strategy that seems like something from science fiction, but is entirely real and remarkably practical. A female kangaroo can carry a dormant embryo in her uterus while simultaneously raising a joey in her pouch and nursing an older youngster that still returns for milk, managing 3 offspring at different developmental stages all at once. If conditions deteriorate, she can halt the development of the dormant embryo, suspending it in a state of arrested growth called diapause until the environment improves and she has the resources to raise another young one. This ability to pause and resume pregnancy on demand allows kangaroos to respond to their environment with extraordinary flexibility, wasting no reproductive opportunity while never overwhelming their capacity to provide care. The outback demands unusual solutions. The gastric brooding frog raised its young inside its stomach. Discovered in Queensland, Australia, in the early 1970s, the gastric brooding frog astonished scientists with a reproductive method never seen before or since, swallowing her fertilized eggs and then shutting down her digestive system entirely while they developed in her stomach over 6 weeks. She would not eat during this entire period, her stomach acids suppressed by hormones released by the developing tadpoles, and when the time came, she would open her mouth wide and her fully formed froglets would simply hop out, ready to begin their lives. Scientists were eager to study this process, hoping it might teach us something about suppressing human stomach ulcers and acid reflux. But before research could progress, both species of gastric brooding frog went extinct, victims of the chytrid fungus that has devastated amphibian populations worldwide. We will never fully understand how they performed this miracle. Some creatures disappear before we can learn their secrets. The Darwin's frog carries tadpoles in its vocal sac. In the cool, temperate rainforests of Chile and Argentina, a small frog with a pointed nose like a leaf tip performs one of the strangest parenting acts in the amphibian world, the male swallowing newly hatched tadpoles and keeping them safe inside his vocal sac until they complete their metamorphosis. He does not digest them, but nurtures them, the sac stretching visibly as they grow, until fully formed froglets emerge from his mouth and hop away to begin independent lives. The father may carry a dozen or more offspring at once, and during this brooding period, he continues to call and feed, though less actively than usual. Named after Charles Darwin, who collected specimens during the voyage of the Beagle, this frog has become increasingly rare as its forest habitat disappears and disease spreads through remaining populations. A father's dedication can take the strangest forms in the natural world. And from the strange nurseries of the animal world, we journey to the extremes, where creatures survive in places no life should exist. The Pompeii worm lives in water hot enough to cook most animals. Clinging to the sides of hydrothermal vents on the mid-ocean ridges, where superheated water pours from the Earth's crust, the Pompeii worm endures temperatures that would almost instantly kill any other complex animal. Its tail, sometimes bathed in water exceeding 80 degrees Celsius, while its head remains in cooler currents. This ability to survive such extreme thermal gradients makes it one of the most heat-tolerant animals on Earth, and scientists believe a thick fleece of symbiotic bacteria covering its back serves as insulation and may detoxify the poisonous chemicals that spew from the vents. The worm builds tubes on the chimney surfaces, venturing out to feed on the bacteria that thrive in the chemical-rich water, retreating quickly when conditions become too extreme even for its remarkable heat tolerance. Its habitat is among the most hostile on Earth, yet it thrives there, a living demonstration that life can flourish in places we once thought utterly uninhabitable. The definition of extreme is always changing. The Himalayan jumping spider lives higher than any other spider. At elevations exceeding 6,700 meters on the slopes of Mount Everest, where oxygen is scarce and temperatures plunge far below freezing, the Himalayan jumping spider hunts tiny insects blown up from lower altitudes, surviving in a realm of permanent snow and ice that seems utterly incompatible with arachnid life. These tiny spiders, no larger than a few millimeters, shelter in cracks in the rock and emerge during the brief warmer periods of the day to catch prey, their entire existence sustained by creatures that arrive on the wind like accidental deliveries from a warmer world below. Scientists have found them higher than any other permanently resident animal on Earth, above even the limits where humans can survive without supplemental oxygen. They carry on without fanfare, unknown to the climbers who pass through their territory on the way to the summit. Somewhere above the clouds, spiders are quietly going about their lives. The Antarctic icefish has no red blood cells. In the frigid waters surrounding Antarctica, where temperatures hover just above the freezing point of seawater, the icefish swims with blood that runs clear as water, having lost its red blood cells and hemoglobin entirely over millions of years of evolution in the cold. Most animals would quickly die without hemoglobin to carry oxygen through their bodies, but the icefish has adapted by developing a larger heart, wider blood vessels, and relying on oxygen dissolved directly in its plasma, a solution that works only because cold water holds so much more oxygen than warm water does. Its body contains antifreeze proteins that prevent its tissues from freezing solid, and its near-invisible blood flows through a cardiovascular system optimized for efficiency in a world where moving quickly is rarely necessary. If you were to cut an icefish, it would not blade red but clear. It is a fish that has given up something fundamental and survived anyway. The wood frog can survive being frozen solid. In the forests of Alaska and northern Canada, where winter temperatures plunge to 40 below zero and the ground freezes solid for months at a time, the wood frog does something extraordinary, allowing its body to freeze completely and then thawing out when spring returns as if nothing had happened. Its heart stops beating, its lungs stop breathing, ice crystals form throughout its tissues, and yet it survives, protected by high concentrations of glucose that act like antifreeze, preventing the formation of destructive ice crystals inside its cells even as the fluid between them freezes solid. When temperatures rise, the frog thaws from the inside out, its heart beginning to beat within hours, and within a day it hops away to find a mate, ready to breed before the brief northern summer ends. It can freeze and thaw multiple times in a single season if the weather demands. Death, for the wood frog, is a temporary state. The diving bell spider lives its entire life underwater. In ponds and slow-moving streams across Europe and northern Asia, a spider has abandoned the terrestrial life of its ancestors entirely, constructing a bell-shaped web filled with air that serves as its underwater home, breathing chamber, dining room, and nursery all in one. The diving bell spider carries air bubbles from the surface trapped in the fine hairs covering its abdomen, swimming down and releasing them into its silken dome until the chamber is large enough to shelter in, and there it waits for prey, darting out to capture aquatic insects and larvae before returning to breathe. The air bubble functions almost like a gill, extracting oxygen from the surrounding water as it is consumed, allowing the spider to make fewer trips to the surface than you might expect. It mates underwater, lays its eggs underwater, and some individuals may go weeks without surfacing at all. The spider has invented its own breathing apparatus millions of years before we ever imagined scuba gear. The camel spider can run at speeds that seem impossible for its size. Scuttling across the deserts of the Middle East and Africa, the camel spider looks like something from a nightmare, its large jaws capable of reaching a third of its body length, and its legs carrying it at speeds that can exceed 16 kilometers per hour, fast enough to keep pace with a jogging human, and certainly fast enough to catch any small prey it pursues. Despite their fearsome appearance and the many myths that surround them, camel spiders are not venomous to humans and are not actually spiders at all, but a related group called solifugi, their jaws designed for crushing hard-shelled insects rather than injecting toxins. They are attracted to shade, which is why they sometimes seem to chase humans in the desert, running toward the shadow a person casts rather than toward the person themselves. Soldiers stationed in desert regions have spread endless exaggerated stories about these creatures, but the reality is strange enough without embellishment. Speed and shadow define their existence. The devil worm lives deeper underground than any other animals. Discovered in a South African gold mine nearly 4 kilometers beneath the surface, in water that had been isolated from the surface for thousands of years, the devil worm shocked scientists who believed that complex multicellular life could not survive such crushing pressure, scorching temperatures, and complete absence of light. This tiny nematode, only half a millimeter long, feeds on bacteria in water that averages around 37 degrees Celsius, reproduces through parthenogenesis, and represents the deepest living animal ever discovered, its existence redefining our understanding of where life can persist. If such creatures exist here on Earth, in conditions we thought sterile, then perhaps similar life exists beneath the surfaces of other worlds, hidden in deep aquifers and geological formations we have never explored. The devil worm is not just a biological curiosity, but a message about the persistence of life. Even the deep Earth holds mysteries we are only beginning to discover. The rock-eating shipworm digests stone instead of wood. In the rivers of the Philippines, scientists recently discovered a shipworm that had done something unprecedented in the animal kingdom, abandoning the wood-boring habits of its relatives to instead burrow through solid limestone, digesting the rock itself as it tunnels, and using bacteria in its gut to extract nutrients from the calcium carbonate. Traditional shipworms are notorious for destroying wooden ships and piers, their elongated bodies equipped with tiny shell-like structures that rasp through timber. But this species has found an entirely new ecological niche, carving extensive tunnel systems through riverside rocks that other creatures then colonize. How it derives sufficient energy from stone remains partly mysterious, though the bacteria that line its digestive system likely play a crucial role in breaking down materials that would seem entirely inedible to any other complex animal. It is plump and white, looking nothing like a worm, and its discovery raises questions about what other strange diets might exist in unexplored corners of the world. Even stone is food to something. The Saharan silver ant is the fastest ant in the world. When the midday sun pushes surface temperatures above 60 degrees Celsius and every other creature hides underground or in whatever shade it can find, the Saharan silver ant emerges to scavenge the corpses of insects that have died from the heat, racing across the sand at speeds that make it the fastest ant on Earth relative to body size. It can cover 100 times its own body length in a single second, the equivalent of a human sprinting at over 300 kilometers per hour, and it does so on legs that appear to gallop rather than walk, all 6 feet leaving the ground simultaneously in each stride. Its silver coloring reflects heat, and special hairs on its body dissipate thermal energy, allowing it brief windows of foraging time when the desert would otherwise be a death trap. It has only about 10 minutes before its own body temperature becomes lethal. Speed, in this environment, is not a luxury, but a matter of life and death. The brine shrimp can survive in water saltier than the sea. In salt lakes and evaporating pools around the world, where the concentration of dissolved minerals would quickly kill most aquatic life, the brine shrimp thrives in conditions that would seem utterly inhospitable, tolerating salt concentrations up to 10 times higher than the open ocean. These tiny crustaceans, more commonly known as sea monkeys from their popularity as novelty pets, have been found in desert pools where evaporation concentrates brine to near saturation. And when their habitat dries up completely, their eggs, called cysts, can survive for decades in a state of suspended animation, waiting for water to return. The cysts are so hardy that they have been sent into space and exposed to cosmic radiation, vacuum, and extreme temperatures, emerging viable and ready to hatch when rehydrated back on Earth. Brine shrimp have even been found in hypersaline lakes once thought to be completely sterile. Life always seems to find a way into the most unlikely places. The snotite bacteria creates acid strong enough to burn skin. Hanging from the ceilings of certain caves in dripping formations that look disturbingly like mucus, colonies of bacteria called snotites survive by oxidizing hydrogen sulfide gas that seeps from volcanic vents below, producing sulfuric acid as a waste product that can have a pH close to 0, comparable to battery acid. Scientists who first explored these caves had their equipment corroded and their skin irritated by drops of this acidic slime, and the air itself smells of rotten eggs from the gas the bacteria consume. These extreme environments, hostile to almost all other forms of life, are thriving ecosystems for organisms that have learned to eat poison and excrete acid, entire communities built on chemistry that would destroy most living things. Astrobiologists study snotites because similar environments might exist on other worlds, hidden caves where strange life forms metabolize chemicals we consider deadly. Even acid can be home to something. The radiotrophic fungi can convert radiation into energy. In the ruins of the Chernobyl nuclear reactor, among the most radioactive places on Earth, where radiation levels would quickly kill any human, scientists discovered fungi growing toward the radiation source rather than away from it, apparently using the radioactive particles as an energy source in a process distantly similar to photosynthesis. These melanin-rich fungi, darkened by the same pigment that colors human skin, seem to convert gamma radiation into chemical energy, thriving in an environment that would sterilize most other forms of life. Research into this phenomenon is ongoing, but if the mechanism can be fully understood, it might lead to medical treatments, space exploration applications, or even radiation-powered biotechnology. The fungi of Chernobyl are not merely surviving, but actively seeking out what killed everything else. Life has found ways to feed on forces we once thought universally destructive. These creatures of impossible environments remind us that life finds a way, always. As you breathe slowly now, let your body trust the peace of this moment. There is nothing to do but listen, nothing to hold but the stillness around you. And from the extremes of Earth, we turn to creatures whose venom and toxins are as deadly as they are fascinating. The cone snail has a venom that can kill in minutes. Moving slowly across tropical reefs on a single muscular foot, the cone snail appears harmless, its beautiful patterned shell collected by beachcombers who often do not realize they are handling one of the deadliest creatures in the ocean. Beneath that shell lies a modified tooth shaped like a hollow harpoon, loaded with venom so potent that it can kill a human within minutes if envenomation is severe, paralyzing muscles and stopping the heart before any antidote can be administered. Different species specialize in different prey, some targeting fish, others worms or mollusks, each having evolved a unique cocktail of toxins that scientists are now studying for potential medical applications, including powerful painkillers and treatments for neurological disorders. The cone snail does not hunt by chasing, but by ambush, extending its proboscis to strike passing prey with speed that belies its sluggish reputation. Beauty and danger live together in the same shell. The box jellyfish has enough venom to kill 60 humans. Drifting through the warm coastal waters of Australia and Southeast Asia, the box jellyfish trails tentacles that can extend 3 meters behind its translucent cube-shaped bell. Each tentacle lined with millions of tiny stinging cells called nematocysts that fire on contact and inject one of the most deadly venoms known to science. A single large specimen carries enough venom to kill 60 adult humans, attacking the heart, nervous system, and skin cells simultaneously, and severe stings can cause cardiac arrest within minutes, far faster than any hospital can typically respond. Unlike most jellyfish, the box jellyfish has true eyes, 4 clusters of them that allow it to navigate actively toward light and shelter rather than simply drifting on currents, making it a surprisingly capable predator of small fish and shrimp. During stinger season, beaches in northern Australia often stand empty, the water too dangerous for swimming. The most beautiful things are sometimes the most deadly. The blue-ringed octopus carries enough poison to paralyze 10 people. No larger than a golf ball, the blue-ringed octopus of Australian and Pacific waters would be easy to miss if not for its startling display when threatened. Its skin flashing with brilliant blue rings that pulse and glow against a yellow background in a warning that should be taken very seriously indeed. Its saliva contains tetrodotoxin, the same paralytic compound found in pufferfish, and a single bite can deliver enough of this toxin to kill an adult human, shutting down the nervous system while the victim remains fully conscious but unable to move or breathe. There is no antivenom, and the only treatment is artificial respiration until the toxin wears off, a process that can take hours during which the patient experiences an awareness of their own paralysis that must be terrifying beyond description. These tiny octopuses are docile by nature and bite only when handled or stepped on. The blue rings are not decoration, but a final desperate plea to leave them alone. The golden poison frog holds enough toxin to kill 10 grown men. Hopping through the leaf litter of Colombian rainforests in colors so bright they seem artificial, the golden poison frog is one of the most toxic creatures on Earth, carrying in its skin enough batrachotoxin to kill 10 adult humans with ease, a defense so effective that almost nothing dares to eat it. Indigenous people of the region have used this toxin for centuries, rubbing their hunting darts against the frog's back to create weapons capable of bringing down large prey, a practice that gave these frogs their common name despite the toxin being a poison rather than a venom. The frogs are not born toxic, but acquire their deadly chemistry from the ants and mites they eat in the wild, and captive-bred individuals are harmless, producing no toxin at all in the absence of the right diet. Their brilliant colors serve as an unmistakable warning to any predator with the sense to learn from experience. In nature, bright colors often shout a simple message: stay away. The pufferfish is more poisonous than cyanide. Considered a delicacy in Japan where it is called fugu, the pufferfish contains tetrodotoxin concentrated in its liver, ovaries, and skin, a poison over 1,000 times more deadly than cyanide, for which there is no known antidote, and yet highly trained chefs prepare it for diners willing to risk death for a unique culinary experience. The amount of toxin in a single pufferfish could kill 30 adult humans, and despite strict licensing requirements and years of training, several diners still die each year from improperly prepared fugu, their nervous systems paralyzed while they remain conscious until respiratory failure ends their suffering. The fish itself is immune to its own poison, having evolved toxin-resistant sodium channels that allow its nerves to function normally despite the chemical that would silence them in any other animal. Scientists study these channels, hoping to develop new pain medications and anesthetics. The pufferfish offers both danger and the promise of healing. The inland taipan carries enough venom to kill 100 people. In the remote, arid regions of Central Australia, the most venomous snake in the world slides through cracks in the cracked earth, hunting small mammals with venom so potent that a single bite contains enough toxin to kill 100 adult humans or 250,000 mice, a concentration unmatched by any other snake species. Despite this terrifying potential, the inland taipan is extremely shy and rarely encountered by humans, preferring to flee rather than fight, and no confirmed deaths have ever been recorded from its bite, largely because antivenom is effective if administered quickly, and the snake lives far from populated areas. Its venom has evolved specifically to kill warm-blooded prey quickly, preventing bitten animals from running far before they die, an efficiency that serves the snake well in an environment where meals are hard to find. The inland taipan reminds us that the deadliest creatures are often the most elusive. Sometimes, the most dangerous simply choose to be left alone. The stonefish is the most venomous fish in the sea. Lying motionless on the seafloor of tropical Indo-Pacific waters, the stonefish is so perfectly camouflaged as a rock or piece of coral that swimmers and divers often step directly on it before realizing anything is there, driving venomous spines into their feet, with results that survivors describe as the most excruciating pain imaginable. The venom causes intense throbbing agony that can last for days, tissue death around the wound site, and in severe cases, heart failure and death if treatment is not received quickly. Stonefish rarely move unless absolutely necessary, lying in wait for small fish and shrimp to pass within striking distance, their enormous mouths capable of gulping prey in literally a few milliseconds, among the fastest feeding strikes in the animal kingdom. They have no natural predators, their disguise and defenses rendering them essentially untouchable in their natural environment. The stonefish teaches a harsh lesson: not everything that looks like stone is safe to touch. The platypus has a venomous spur on its ankle. Among the strangest creatures on Earth, the platypus already defies classification. A mammal that lays eggs, has a duck-like bill filled with electroreceptors, and swims with webbed feet through the rivers of eastern Australia. But males also carry a secret weapon that makes them unique among mammals. On each hind ankle sits a hollow spur connected to a venom gland, and during breeding season especially, males can jab this spur into rivals or threats, delivering a dose of venom that causes excruciating pain in humans that morphine cannot fully relieve, swelling that can last for months, and muscle wasting that may persist indefinitely. The venom is not lethal to humans, but has killed dogs and other small animals, and its composition is unlike any other known venom, containing novel proteins that scientists are still working to understand. The platypus uses this weapon primarily against other males competing for mates. Even the most endearing creatures can have a very dangerous side. And from the realm of venom and poison, we drift into a softer darkness, where creatures create their own light in the endless night of the deep. The firefly squid lights up the ocean like a living lantern. Every spring, in Toyama Bay on the coast of Japan, millions of firefly squid rise from the deep to spawn in shallow waters, their bioluminescent photophores blazing with blue light until the sea itself seems to glow, a natural spectacle that draws tourists from around the world. Each squid, only about 8 centimeters long, carries hundreds of light-producing organs across its body, flashing and pulsing in patterns that may confuse predators, attract mates, or camouflage the squid's silhouette against the dim light filtering down from above. They spend most of their lives at depths of several hundred meters, rising to the surface only at night to feed, and eventually to reproduce in a mass spawning event that marks the end of their short one-year lifespan. After mating, the exhausted squid wash up on beaches in such numbers that local fishermen scoop them up by the netful. Their light burns brightest just before the end. The flashlight fish has glowing organs beneath its eyes. Swimming through the reef caves and deep waters of tropical oceans, the flashlight fish carries two crescent-shaped organs beneath its eyes that glow with a steady blue-green light produced by symbiotic bacteria, a living headlamp that the fish can turn on and off at will by rotating the organs or covering them with a fold of dark skin. This bioluminescence serves multiple purposes, helping the fish see and attract prey in dark environments while also confusing predators through a technique called blink and run, where the fish flashes its lights, swims in one direction, then turns off its lights and darts in another, leaving attackers hunting in the wrong place entirely. Schools of flashlight fish create mesmerizing displays, their lights flickering on and off in patterns that may serve as communication between individuals. At night on certain reefs, the darkness comes alive with these living stars. Light has become both tool and language for these creatures. The cookie cutter shark glows to lure its prey. In the dark waters of the open ocean, a small shark no longer than 50 centimeters uses an unusual hunting strategy that allows it to take bites from animals far larger than itself, including whales, dolphins, tuna, and even submarines, leaving perfectly circular wounds that look like they were made by a cookie cutter. The cookie cutter shark's underside glows with bioluminescence, matching the faint light from above and making it nearly invisible to predators looking up from below, except for a small dark patch near its throat that resembles a small fish. Larger animals, attracted to what looks like potential prey, swim too close, and the shark latches on with its sucker-like lips and spins, carving out a plug of flesh with its remarkably sharp teeth before swimming away. It is one of the few parasites that attacks creatures thousands of times its own size. Even the largest whales bear scars from its tiny round mouth. The deep-sea dragonfish produces red light that only it can see. In the midnight zone of the ocean, where no sunlight penetrates, most creatures have lost the ability to perceive red light entirely, their eyes adapted only to the blue and green wavelengths of bioluminescence that dominate these depths. The deep-sea dragonfish has evolved to exploit this limitation, producing red light from organs beneath its eyes that illuminates prey without alerting them, essentially hunting with an invisible searchlight that only it can see. Its teeth are so large they cannot fit inside its mouth when closed, and its body is so black it absorbs nearly all light that touches it, making it almost impossible to see in the darkness between its hunting forays. The red light ability gives the dragonfish an extraordinary advantage. A predator armed with technology its prey has no defense against. It is a creature of stealth that has weaponized color in the most absolute darkness imaginable. The glowing millipede warns predators with its light. Crawling through the forests of California after autumn rains, the bioluminescent millipede glows with a faint greenish light that seems almost magical, a gentle radiance that warns nocturnal predators that this particular millipede is not worth eating. The glow is produced by a chemical reaction similar to that found in fireflies, and it serves as a signal that the millipede contains cyanide compounds that will make any creature that eats it very sick, a message that most predators quickly learn to respect. Unlike animals that use bioluminescence to attract mates or lure prey, the millipede's light exists purely as a warning, an honest advertisement of the consequences that await anyone who ignores it. Scientists have studied this species to understand how bioluminescence evolves and what advantages it provides in environments where glowing normally attracts attention you do not want. Sometimes the best defense is simply telling the truth about how unpleasant you are. The railroad worm glows in two different colors. Looking like something from a science fiction film, the female railroad worm, actually the larva of a beetle native to the Americas, glows with rows of greenish-yellow lights along her sides and a bright red light on her head, earning her name from her resemblance to a train traveling through the darkness. This dual-color bioluminescence is unique in the animal kingdom, and scientists believe the different lights serve different purposes, the green perhaps warning predators, while the red may help the worm navigate or locate prey, though research is ongoing. She spends her larval life hunting millipedes and other soil invertebrates, her glowing body visible only at night when she emerges from hiding to feed. Adult males, which look like ordinary beetles, live only a few days and never eat, existing solely to find and mate with the glowing females. The railroad worm has turned darkness into an advantage. The crystal jelly gave science the gift of green fluorescent protein. Pulsing gently through the waters of the Pacific coast, the crystal jelly is nearly invisible, its body so transparent that it seems to be made of water and light rather than living tissue. But around the margins of its bell, a ring of green fluorescence glows softly, a product of a protein that would go on to revolutionize biology. Green fluorescent protein, or GFP, was isolated from the crystal jelly and has since become one of the most important tools in modern science, allowing researchers to tag and track genes, proteins, and cells in living organisms, illuminating processes that were previously invisible. The scientists who developed this technology shared a Nobel Prize in 2008, all thanks to a humble jellyfish drifting quietly in the dark. The crystal jelly had no idea what gift it carried. Sometimes the most important discoveries are hiding in the most translucent of places. The comb jelly creates rainbows of light as it moves. Drifting through oceans from the tropics to the poles, the comb jelly produces one of the most beautiful light displays in the natural world, rows of cilia along its transparent body refracting light into shimmering rainbow bands that pulse and ripple as the creature swims. This effect is not bioluminescence, but structural color, the same phenomenon that creates iridescence on soap bubbles and peacock feathers, though many comb jellies can also produce their own blue or green light when disturbed. They are among the oldest animal groups on Earth, their lineage stretching back over 500 million years, and some scientists believe they may have been the first animals to evolve nervous systems, even before the ancestors of sponges and jellyfish. Despite their delicate appearance, some species are voracious predators, consuming fish larvae and other comb jellies with sticky tentacles or enormous gulping mouths. Rainbow light and ancient hunger drift together through the dark. And from creatures that carry their own stars, we turn to those whose very existence seems like a triumph of evolution's imagination. The shoebill can stand motionless for hours waiting for prey. Standing nearly 1.5 meters tall in the papyrus swamps of East Africa, the shoebill stares with enormous pale eyes set in a head dominated by a bill shaped like a wooden clog, a structure so bizarre and distinctive that early Western explorers refused to believe the bird was real until specimens arrived in Europe. It hunts by standing completely motionless at the edge of the water, often for hours at a time, waiting for lungfish or small crocodiles to surface before striking with a sudden lunge that catches prey in its massive hooked bill. The shoebill's patience is legendary among birdwatchers, who can spend entire days watching one that barely moves, and its gaze has an intensity that many find deeply unsettling, as if the bird is not merely looking at you, but evaluating you in some ancient and unknowable way. They make machine, gun-like bill-clattering sounds when greeting their mates. Silence and strangeness define this most prehistoric of living birds. The secretary bird stomps snakes to death with its powerful legs. Striding across the African savanna on legs so long they seem borrowed from a crane, the secretary bird hunts venomous snakes by stomping them to death with feet that deliver kicks estimated at 5 times its own body weight, striking so quickly that even fast-moving cobras and mambas cannot react in time. Its name may come from the crest of feathers behind its head, which supposedly resembles the quill pens that 18th-century secretaries tucked behind their ears, though the bird itself seems far too fierce for such a clerical comparison. Unlike most raptors, it spends most of its time walking rather than flying, covering up to 30 kilometers a day in search of prey, eating everything from grasshoppers to hares, but specializing in the reptiles that most birds avoid entirely. When it does fly, it is surprisingly graceful, soaring on thermals before descending to continue its march across the grasslands. The secretary bird has made pedestrian hunting an art form. The kakapo is the only flightless parrot in the world. Waddling through the forests of New Zealand at night, the kakapo is a bird that seems designed to be loved. A heavy moss-green parrot with a face like an owl, a musky sweet smell, and a personality so gentle and curious that individuals have been known to climb onto human visitors and fall asleep in their laps. It is also critically endangered, with fewer than 250 individuals remaining, every one of them named and monitored by conservation teams working desperately to save the species from extinction. The kakapo evolved without mammalian predators and lost both the ability and the instinct to fly, a decision that proved fatal when humans introduced cats, rats, and stoats to its island home. Males attract mates with deep booming calls audible from kilometers away, inflating special air sacs to produce sounds that seem more suited to a large mammal than a bird. Every kakapo alive today represents a victory against seeming impossibility. The saiga antelope has a nose like no other mammal. Roaming the grasslands of Central Asia in diminishing herds, the saiga antelope looks like something from the last ice age, its most distinctive feature being an enormous bulbous nose that hangs down over its mouth, giving it an appearance that seems almost alien compared to other antelopes. This remarkable nose serves multiple crucial purposes, warming and moistening the frigid air of winter before it reaches the lungs, filtering out the dust kicked up by migrating herds in summer, and possibly playing a role in the deep resonant calls that males make during breeding season. Saiga populations crashed by over 90% in the early 2010s due to a bacterial disease triggered by unusual weather conditions, and they face ongoing threats from poaching for their horns, which are used in traditional medicine. The saiga's strange nose evolved to ensure survival in one of Earth's harshest environments. Now survival depends on human protection. The mantis shrimp sees more colors than any other creature. Lurking in coral reef cavities with eyes that swivel independently like twin cameras, the mantis shrimp perceives the world in ways that human senses cannot begin to comprehend. Its visual system, containing 16 types of color receptors compared to our mere 3, detecting not only visible light, but also ultraviolet and polarized light that is invisible to nearly every other animal. These remarkable eyes sit atop stalks that never stop moving, scanning the environment with a focus and intensity that seems almost mechanical, processing information in ways scientists are still struggling to understand. The mantis shrimp also possesses one of the most powerful strikes in the animal kingdom, capable of punching through aquarium glass and delivering blows with the acceleration of a bullet. used both for smashing the shells of prey and for competing with rivals. They are small, beautiful, and almost absurdly well-equipped for their ecological niche. The mantis shrimp sees and strikes in ways we can barely imagine. The lyrebird can mimic any sound it hears. In the forests of eastern Australia, a bird with a tail shaped like an ancient Greek musical instrument performs one of the most complex vocal displays in nature, incorporating not only the calls of other bird species, but also chainsaws, car alarms, camera shutters, crying babies, and virtually any other sound it has ever heard. The male lyrebird spends years perfecting his repertoire, adding new sounds and refining old ones, performing on specially cleared stages in the forest for females who judge his fitness by the quality and variety of his mimicry. Some individuals have been recorded accurately reproducing the sounds of construction equipment, logging operations that cleared nearby forest, and even the voices of humans who passed by only once. The lyrebird does not merely copy, but creates complex arrangements, mixing and sequencing sounds in ways that suggest something like musical composition. It is a living recorder of its acoustic environment. The Japanese spider crab has the longest leg span of any arthropod. Walking slowly across the seafloor of the Pacific around Japan, the Japanese spider crab can stretch its legs across nearly 4 meters from tip to tip, making it the largest arthropod on Earth by leg span and giving it an appearance that would not be out of place in a science fiction film. Despite their intimidating size, these crabs are gentle scavengers and omnivores, feeding on dead animals, algae, and whatever else they find on the bottom, and they can live for up to 100 years in the deep waters they prefer, growing larger with each successive molt throughout their extremely long lives. In shallow waters, they would be vulnerable to predators, so adults typically stay at depths of several hundred meters, though they migrate to shallower areas to breed. Japanese mythology portrayed these crabs as supernatural creatures, and it is easy to see why ancient fishermen found them so unsettling. Size, in the spider crab, has reached truly extraordinary proportions. The slow-motion sloth moves too slowly for predators to notice. Hanging upside down from the branches of Central and South American rainforests, the sloth moves so slowly that eagles and jaguars often fail to notice it at all. Its green-tinged fur covered in symbiotic algae that provides additional camouflage against the forest canopy, while also hosting an entire ecosystem of moths, beetles, and other invertebrates. Its metabolism is the slowest of any mammal, taking up to a month to digest a single meal of leaves, and its body temperature can fluctuate unlike that of most mammals, dropping significantly during cool nights to conserve energy. Sloths descend to the ground only about once a week, a dangerous journey during which they are most vulnerable to predators, and scientists believe they make this trip specifically to defecate, possibly to fertilize the trees that provide their food. Three-toed sloths can rotate their heads nearly 270 degrees. Slowness, it turns out, is a perfectly viable survival strategy. The narwhal's tusk is actually a long spiraling tooth. Swimming through the icy waters of the Arctic, the narwhal carries what looks like a unicorn horn spiraling from its head, but this remarkable structure is actually a canine tooth that grows through the upper lip and can reach lengths of over 3 meters, spiraling in a left-handed helix that is consistent across all individuals. For centuries, narwhal tusks were sold in medieval Europe as genuine unicorn horns, fetching prices higher than their weight in gold, and they were believed to have magical properties, including the ability to neutralize poison and cure disease. Scientists now believe the tusk serves as a sensory organ, its surface containing millions of nerve endings that can detect changes in water temperature, salinity, and pressure, giving males information about their environment that they might otherwise miss. Males occasionally cross tusks in behavior called tusking, which appears to be a form of communication rather than combat. The narwhal has made mythology into biology. As the images of these extraordinary creatures settle gently into your thoughts, allow your breath to become slow and even. Feel the weight of your body against whatever supports you. There is no rush, no urgency, only the soft rhythm of your breathing and the stillness of this moment. The vampire bat shares blood with other bats in need. Roosting in caves and hollow trees across Central and South America, vampire bats are the only mammals that feed entirely on blood, using heat sensors in their noses to locate veins beneath the skin of sleeping cattle, horses, and occasionally humans, then lapping up the blood with tongues adapted for this precise purpose. What makes them truly remarkable, however, is not their diet but their social behavior. For vampire bats that fail to find a meal on any given night will beg food from more successful roostmates, who regurgitate blood to feed their hungry companions even when unrelated. This reciprocal altruism is carefully tracked, with bats remembering who has helped them in the past and refusing to share with individuals who have previously refused them. Vampire bats can die after just 3 nights without feeding. In their world, generosity is not merely kindness, but survival. The vampire bat has built its society on mutual dependence and carefully maintained trust. The honey badger fears almost nothing. Trotting across the savannas and deserts of Africa and Asia with an attitude that seems utterly disproportionate to its size, the honey badger has earned a reputation as one of the most fearless animals on Earth, routinely attacking snakes, lions, and beehives with apparent disregard for the consequences. Its loose and extraordinarily thick skin allows it to twist around and bite attackers even when gripped from behind, and it can withstand enormous punishment, including multiple venomous snake bites that would quickly kill other mammals of similar size. Honey badgers have been observed using tools, breaking out of enclosures, and demonstrating problem-solving abilities that have impressed even skeptical scientists, and they seem to genuinely enjoy conflict in ways that suggest something like aggressive pleasure. Their relationship with honey-guide birds, which lead them to beehives in exchange for access to the wax the badger breaks open, is one of the most unusual partnerships in nature. The honey badger has perfection aggression into an art form. The archerfish shoots jets of water to knock insects from branches. Lurking beneath the surface of mangrove forests and brackish rivers in Southeast Asia and Australia, the archerfish has evolved a hunting technique that seems almost too precise to be possible, shooting jets of water from its mouth to knock insects and spiders from overhanging branches, then darting to snatch the fallen prey before it can escape. This remarkable ability requires the fish to compensate for the refraction of light at the water's surface, meaning it must calculate where the prey actually is rather than where it appears to be, a feat of physics that would challenge many humans. Young archerfish learn by watching adults, suggesting that at least some of this skill is acquired through observation and practice rather than being entirely instinctive, and experiments have shown they can hit targets over 2 meters above the water with impressive accuracy. The archerfish has solved an optical problem most animals never encounter. Water in its mouth becomes a weapon. The electric eel can produce a shock powerful enough to stun a horse. Gliding through the murky rivers of the Amazon basin, the electric eel is not actually an eel at all, but a knife fish. Its elongated body packed with specialized cells called electrocytes that can generate up to 800 volts of electricity, enough to incapacitate large prey, deter predators, and potentially kill a human in water. It uses this electricity not only for defense and hunting, but also for navigation and communication, emitting low-voltage pulses that help it sense its environment in dark, muddy waters where vision is useless, a kind of biological sonar that runs on self-generated power. Electric eels must surface to breathe, gulping air into a modified swim bladder that acts like a primitive lung, and they can survive for hours out of water if their skin stays moist. Recent research has revealed that they can even leap from the water to deliver stronger shocks to threats they cannot submerge. The electric eel has weaponized its own nervous system. The peacock mantis shrimp punches with the force of a bullet. Hiding in burrows on coral reefs throughout the Indo-Pacific, the peacock mantis shrimp is armed with one of the most devastating natural weapons on Earth, club-like appendages that accelerate faster than a gunshot, reaching speeds of over 20 meters per second and generating forces that would shatter bone on impact. These strikes are so powerful that they create cavitation bubbles in the water, tiny implosions that deliver a secondary shockwave, even if the initial blow misses, stunning or killing prey with physics alone. The mantis shrimp's shells have evolved to withstand impacts that would destroy most synthetic materials, and researchers study their structure hoping to create better body armor and crash-resistant materials for human use. Despite their violence, these creatures are devoted parents, with females carrying eggs for weeks and both parents defending territories aggressively against intruders. The peacock mantis shrimp combines beauty with extraordinary violence. Its rainbow colors belie a nature honed for destruction. And as we approach the end of this journey, we meet a few more creatures whose strangeness reminds us that life is endlessly inventive. The mimic octopus chooses which creature to impersonate based on the threat. Unlike other camouflaged animals that simply blend into their surroundings, the mimic octopus of the Indo-Pacific appears to make conscious decisions about which creature to impersonate based on the specific predator threatening it, becoming a flatfish when pursued by damselfish, a sea snake when threatened by lionfish, and a lionfish itself when attacked by smaller hunters. This suggests not merely instinct, but something approaching tactical thinking, the ability to assess a situation, recall which mimicry has worked against this particular threat in the past, and execute the appropriate disguise, all in a fraction of a second while under mortal pressure. Scientists have documented at least 15 different impersonations, but the true number may be much higher, and the octopus sometimes blends mimicry techniques, appearing as something that is partly several different animals at once. It hunts by pretending to be a crab, extending 2 arms in a crab-like posture, while the other 6 trail behind as harmless tentacles. The mimic octopus has turned deception into something very close to intelligence. The Greenland shark can live for over 400 years. Swimming slowly through the frigid waters of the Arctic and North Atlantic, the Greenland shark is now believed to be the longest-lived vertebrate on Earth, with individuals potentially surviving for over 400 years, meaning that a shark alive today may have been born before Shakespeare wrote his plays. Its longevity was determined by radiocarbon dating the lenses of its eyes, which contain proteins formed before birth that remain unchanged throughout life, revealing ages that astonished marine biologists accustomed to measuring animal lifespans in decades rather than centuries. The Greenland shark grows extremely slowly, perhaps less than a centimeter per year, and does not reach sexual maturity until around 150 years of age, a reproductive strategy that leaves the species vulnerable to overfishing despite its obscurity. It feeds on whatever it can find, including seals, fish, and even polar bears and reindeer that fall through the ice. the Greenland shark has witnessed more of Earth's history than any other vertebrate alive. The Teratopsis jellyfish can restart its life cycle indefinitely. Drifting through temperate and tropical oceans around the world, the Teratopsis jellyfish has achieved something that sounds like fantasy: the apparent ability to reverse its aging process and return to an earlier developmental stage, potentially cycling between juvenile and adult forms forever without ever dying of old age. When faced with stress, injury, or simply the approach of its natural lifespan, this jellyfish can transform its adult cells back into polyp cells, sinking to the seafloor and growing into a new colony that will eventually release new genetically identical jellyfish into the water. Scientists are still working to understand exactly how this transdifferentiation works, hoping that the mechanism might eventually teach us something about human aging and cellular regeneration. Of course, most Teratopsis jellyfish are eaten by predators long before they test their immortality, but the possibility exists, quietly pulsing in the dark. Somewhere, a jellyfish is refusing to accept the rules of time. The mudskipper walks on land using its fins. On the mudflats and mangrove forests of the Indo-Pacific, a fish has decided that water is optional, using its pectoral fins like tiny legs to skip and climb across land, basking in the sun, defending territories, and hunting insects and crabs in an environment that would suffocate any ordinary fish. The mudskipper breathes through its skin and the lining of its mouth, which it keeps moist by rolling in mud puddles, and it can survive for days out of water as long as its skin stays damp and the temperature does not get too extreme. Some species dig burrows in the mud, retreating to these underwater chambers when the tide comes in or when predators approach, and males attract females by leaping into the air in elaborate displays that would put many terrestrial animals to shame. They have eyes positioned on top of their heads for watching the sky and excellent vision in air. The mudskipper is evolution in progress, a fish that may be on its way to leaving the water entirely. The paradoxical frog shrinks as it grows older. In the ponds and marshes of South America, a frog violates one of the most basic rules of biological development, its tadpoles growing to over 25 centimeters in length before metamorphosing into adults that are only about 7 centimeters long, shrinking rather than growing as they mature. Scientists once thought this was impossible, hence the name paradoxical frog, but the shrinking is real and remains one of the strangest developmental patterns in the animal kingdom. The giant tadpoles are extraordinarily long-lived, sometimes remaining in their juvenile form for over 4 months before transforming, and they have enormous appetites that allow them to reach their incredible size. Why evolution would favor such a pattern remains unclear, though it may have to do with avoiding different predators at different life stages. The large tadpoles too big for small fish, while the smaller adults can hide more easily. The paradoxical frog grows up by getting smaller. The pink fairy armadillo burrows so quickly, it seems to swim through sand. In the dry grasslands of central Argentina, the smallest armadillo in the world lives an almost entirely subterranean life, its pale pink shell and silky white fur giving it an ethereal appearance that earned it the name pink fairy armadillo. At only about 13 centimeters long, it burrows through sandy soil with such speed and efficiency that it appears to swim rather than dig, its powerful clawed forelegs throwing dirt backward, while its flat tail tamps down the tunnel behind it. It is so rarely seen that scientists know almost nothing about its behavior in the wild, and individuals brought into captivity typically die within days, unable to adapt to conditions that differ even slightly from their natural environment. The pink fairy armadillo feeds on ants, larvae, and plant material, foraging mainly at night and retreating into its burrows at the first sign of danger. It is a creature of secrets, glimpsed so briefly that even its existence seems almost mythological. The platypus confuses scientists with its impossible combination of features. When the first platypus specimen reached England in 1799, scientists were so convinced it was a hoax that they actually looked for stitches where someone might have sewn different animals together. Unable to believe that nature could produce a furry mammal with a duck's bill, a beaver's tail, webbed feet, venomous ankle spurs, and the ability to lay eggs. The platypus uses electroreceptors in its bill to detect the tiny electrical signals produced by the muscle contractions of its prey. Hunting with its eyes closed and relying entirely on this sixth sense to find shrimp and insect larvae in the muddy waters of Australian rivers. It is one of only 5 surviving species of monotreme, the most ancient lineage of mammals, and its genome contains genes from mammals, birds, and reptiles, reflecting a deep evolutionary history that predates the split between these groups. The platypus is a creature that defies categories entirely. Nature apparently felt no need to follow the rules. The hummingbird can fly backwards, upside down, and hover in place. Buzzing through the gardens and forests of the Americas, the hummingbird performs aerial feats that no other bird can match, its wings beating up to 80 times per second in a figure-8 pattern that allows it to hover motionless in front of a flower, fly backwards from one blossom to another, and even flip upside down to escape predators or navigate tight spaces. Its heart can beat over 1,000 times per minute during flight, and its metabolism runs so hot that it must eat constantly throughout the day, consuming up to half its body weight in sugar just to stay alive and functional. At night, when feeding is impossible, hummingbirds enter a state called torpor, their body temperature and heart rate dropping dramatically to conserve energy until morning returns and they can begin their frantic feeding once again. They are among the smallest birds on Earth, some species weighing less than a penny, yet they migrate thousands of kilometers across continents and oceans. The hummingbird has mastered flight in ways evolution rarely achieves. And with that, the world of strange creatures grows quiet. From the depths of the ocean where fish with transparent heads drift through eternal darkness, to the rainforests where frogs carry their young within their own skin. From the caves where eyeless creatures navigate by vibration, to the deserts where ants outrun the scorching sun. From the seabed where shrimp create bubbles hotter than stars, to the Arctic waters where fish survive without red blood. We have wandered through a gallery of the impossible and found that every creature we met was real. If this journey brought you a moment of peace, consider letting others find their way here too. A like, a subscription, a quiet word to someone who might need a gentle voice at night. Each small act helps this community grow, one sleepy soul at a time. There are more wonders waiting in future journeys. Right now, as you lie here in the stillness, these creatures continue their strange lives. The axolotl drifts in its dark waters, regrowing what was lost. The tardigrade clings to a grain of moss, waiting for conditions to change. The immortal jellyfish pulses somewhere in the deep, rewriting its own story. And you too are part of this quiet symphony of life, resting now after a long day. Let your breath become slow and steady, like the movement of the deep sea creatures we met tonight. If your eyes feel heavy, let them close. Let your shoulders release any tension they still hold. Allow the weight of your body to sink into wherever you are resting, trusting that you are safe, that you are held. There is nothing more you need to do tonight. Tonight, as you rest, the strange creatures of the world continue their quiet work. The glowing jellies pulse in the deep. The cave salamanders drift through underground rivers. The bioluminescent fungi shimmer in the dark forests. Life carries on in all its strange and wondrous forms while you sleep. You are a small, warm presence within this vast web of unusual life, peacefully resting among the wonders. Sleep well. Sweet dreams, and may you carry with you the quiet knowledge that somewhere on this earth, at this very moment, a creature is doing something that science cannot yet fully explain. This has been Drowsy Discovery. Good night.